You know, sometimes you're out there and you're shooting and you get a good shot, and then you kind of wait a second, you get another good shot, and then later on you look at the photos and you're like, which one do I want to use? But the thing is, don't limit your choices to this one or that one. It could be this one and that one, and we can combine a couple of different shots, which is what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. We're going to open the two images, but rather than open them and then combine them, we can do all of this at once. If we choose File, and then we go down to Scripts, you're going to see Load Files into Stack. This is where you'll open multiple photographs, and then we can just put them into different layers automatically. So we're going to be clicking on Browse. You're going to find the images, and these are the two images we're going to do here, Combine Morrow and 2. Click Open. Now it's going to show these here. Now when we click OK, what it's going to do is it's going to load both of these into separate layers. So if we look at these, notice how we want to get this splash of the water, but then we want to combine it with this splash here to create a more interesting, although less realistic photograph. And so these shots were not perfectly aligned. I didn't use a tripod, they were handheld. If you notice this, you'll see that these is a little bit of movement between. So what we want to do is make sure that these are aligned before we do anything. So what I'm going to do is hold down the Shift key and click on the bottom. So now both layers are selected. Then we go under the Edit menu, and then we're going to choose to auto align layers. So this window will pop up. Let's just keep auto and choose OK. Now, if we look at this, notice now that the image is perfectly aligned, and the only thing that changes now is the features in the images. So the next thing we want to do is decide, hey, which one do we want to use as the base photo and which one do we want to add to? So if we were going to use this as the base photo, and then we're just going to add the splash, that's one option. So let's look at this. We've got some birds here in some good position. And if we look at that one there, the real difference here is the birds. And I think I like these birds better. And notice that we've hidden the top layer. The bottom one is showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag that to the top. See that line there? Just release. And now this photo is on top. So all we want to do is just reveal this section of the photograph. So we've got that top layer that is selected. What we want to do is we want to hide this with a layer mask. Now, generally speaking, when we click to add a layer mask, that mask will have no effect because it will show that white mask. What we want to do is create a layer mask that hides the layer. So in order to do that, hold down the Alt key, that would be Option on Mac, and then click Add Layer Mask. Notice when we get the layer mask, it's now a black mask which hides the contents of this layer. So if I show and hide the layer, you'll see no difference because it's hidden. Now if we paint with white, with that mask selected, only the area we paint with white will show on the top layer. So this is going to be perfect. So we're going to choose white as the foreground color. And by the way, if you just hit the D key, that will reset foreground background colors. And we want white there. Great. Now let's grab a brush. And then what we're going to do is go up under the brushes here and make sure you're using the soft round brush. And you'll see that under the general brushes there. So we're choosing soft round and make sure that that hardness is all the way to the left, which is going to give us as soft a brush as we can get. Now, if I hit the left bracket key, this brush will get smaller. If I hit the right bracket key, it will get larger. We can also hold Control, Option, and drag left to right. That would be Alt, Backspace. That would be Alt right click on Windows. And if we go up and down, we can change the hardness. All right, so I'm going to brush about that big. So we want a larger brush, but not too large. So this will give us a nice feathering on the edges because it's a soft edge and also it's a little bit larger. And that'll give us a more realistic kind of a blend. So with that black mask selected, we're going to paint. And notice as we do this, we can start to see the parts coming through from the other photograph. There we go. Now notice I painted over that bird. If you want to bring the bird back, hit the X key, which will give us black for the foreground color, and let's make a smaller brush, and then we can just paint where that bird is to just kind of bring that back without bringing back the rest of this wave. So let's just hit the X key once again to go back to white. And I'm just going to paint on this edge just to make sure we're getting all of that edge there. Nice. And if we look at what's on that layer, this is what we've revealed. And that's just kind of blending with the layer underneath. And now you can see we can start to take elements from different photographs that were shot in the same location and start to blend them together. So this is a really useful technique that you're going to use over and over again. So the first step is putting these together. The next step is adjusting them and doing the final touches. And we've got these amazing landscape masks in Camera Raw and Lightroom. Check out this tutorial here on how to use them. Drop a comment underneath and let me know if you learned anything in here and what you'd like to see me cover next. And if you're new to the cafe, welcome. It's great to have you here. Hit that subscribe button and make sure to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of my free tutorials. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.